Hi, everyone. I'm Julianne Neal with JA Media Productions and a member of the EQUUS Film and Arts Fest team. And I'm so excited to be back with you for another Authors Web Chat. We're here today with Rennie Dyball, who is the author of the Show Stride series. Rennie, welcome to the Web Chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I have to tell you, Show Strides, all three of the books I absolutely love. And as somebody who grew up, I won't date myself by saying when, but when I was growing up, it wasn't just the Misty of Chincoteague books and all. I would read the American Girl stories and that sort of thing. And the thing to me that I'm noticing about your series is those books were pretty general and beautiful stories, but yours are pretty specific to the show world. So obviously you have a background as an author, but also a background as a writer and someone who's been involved in that. So can you tell us a little bit, first of all, about how you got started as an author, and then we'll talk about your experience with showing.
Sure, absolutely. I worked for People Magazine and People.com for 15 years in New York. And while I was doing that, I got into ghostwriting on the side for celebrities and always wanted to be an author, wasn't really sure how I would get in. And ghostwriting was the way in. So I loved my work at People, but I really loved being an author. So it was always kind of in the back of my mind, how can I just be an author one day? And when I left People and moved from New York back here to Maryland, I met Piper Clem, the publisher of The Plaid Horse, and had just the most wonderful moment of kismet, because she was looking to write a series for young readers about the horse show world and riders and needed a co-author. Piper runs the whole brand and has her hand in 20 projects at a time and needed help.
Right.
Yeah, so I had written maybe 8 or 9 books to that point, not fiction though. And I thought, I've always wanted to write fiction. What better way in than to write about one of my greatest passions? So I'm so happy to have gotten the chance to team up with her. And it's a passion project through and through.
Oh, you can tell you can tell about that from reading all the stories. So before we get into the books, what is your background as a writer?
Yeah, I am more of a Tally, since you've read the books, Tally being
Okay.
the working student who rides at the riding school. Growing up, my parents were very generous and bought me twice weekly riding lessons, schooling shows, but not more than that. So I had to work really hard to get to do more than that. I rode on the equestrian team at Penn State for all 4 years. And then I moved to New York to establish my career on a very small salary. So I had to take a long break from riding. And then when my husband's job took us back to Maryland, I thought, I got to get back into it. Horses they were missing from my life for a decade. So I got to actually hook back up with my trainer from when I was a teenager. He was still in the area. So we built me back up from the ground up from a 30 something who was afraid to canter, and got me rolling again. And so I was showing in the low adults, and I got to do my very first rated shows as an adult, which was even more special because it was always a dream as a kid and I never got to do it. That trainer moved out to California, and we moved from the DC area to the Baltimore area. And now I'm at my current barn that I couldn't love more, with an incredible trainer and an incredible horse that I'm leasing. And it's, the childhood dreams finally coming true.
Oh, well, if you're going to ride, I think Maryland is the place to do it, because your horse industry, Ross Petticourt is a friend, and just hearing what you guys have going on up there is amazing. But I'd like to ask you about your characters. You mentioned Tally, and she's the star of the show in a sense. Well, she's the human star of the show, but from Sweetie to Goose and all the rest in between, they're phenomenal. So what is your writing process? Tell us a little bit about the books, and then how you come up with your characters.
Sure. So Show Strides is a middle grade series, although we do have a lot of adult readers as well, which I'm very proud of. I mean, I read middle grade books all the time.
Right. Me too.
So it basically started from the idea of how I grew up riding at a very big facility that housed both a lesson program and then like an A hunter jumper show barn with boarders. So growing up, I got to see all of it. And I think that that's an important lesson in and of itself, that in this sport, there's so much wealth, but you can do it at any level. And
Right.
we're all in different places, but we can all be students of the sport and work hard and find our way into a spot, whatever that spot may be. So I started this series with Tally, the working student who rides in the school program, and Mac, who has a medium pony hunter of her own. And those girls come to find out just how similar they are, even though they might seem different on the surface. Starting this series, I didn't know much about ponies. So I took field trips to the Devon Horse Show, to pony finals, to Washington International, and kind of embedded myself with the barns I know, and just, hanging out amongst everybody to learn how 12-year-olds talk, what's important to them, my kids are younger, so I needed, the field research. But yeah, it's really, to me, it's doing this day in and day out that ends up bringing up the storylines. The trainer in the book is sort of a compilation of the trainers I've known.
Right.
And like a lot of people, I could spend all day at the horse show. And so sometimes I do, and I bring either a notebook or the notes on my phone, and I just listen in on what's going on. And, even a little snippet of conversation can spark a storyline sometimes.
Well, I wondered because to me, it sounded like you had probably grown up in that world. So that's really interesting to know that you're that's your writing process, I guess. And I do love that relationship between Tally and Ryan, because she's sort of intimidated in the beginning. And as we all are, I think, with a new trainer and just not knowing how things are going to go. But what a fantastic relationship they have. And he gives her such great opportunities. So it's really, really special. So with the whole series, I just finished the last book, and I'm not gonna give any away. I'm not gonna do any spoilers or anything like that. But it left me wondering: is there another one in the works? Will there be another book in the series?
Yes, the plan. If all things go according to plan, we never know.
Right.
We would like to release one book a year. So hopefully book 5 will be out. We're planning on book 5 being out in 2022, 6 and 23, and beyond. I mean, the hope, Piper's hope, is that this is a series like the Saddle Club or the Babysitters Club that can just go on. And there's so many different angles to explore, different disciplines. The hunter jumper world is what we're in and what the books have focused on so far. Obviously, that's one piece of the horse world overall. So I'm excited for more field trips to learn about dressage and eventing and pony club, and the things I haven't done.
Yeah. Well, I love it. It's like I think you mentioned just now that horses are the equalizers, and where the third book kind of got into some of those things that teenagers go through with peer pressure and the gossip and all of that. There are books for horse people, but there are also books for just teenagers or young people in general. So you don't have to be a horse person really for it to apply, but they certainly are geared toward that. So I really enjoyed them, and really I can't wait to read the next one. So looking forward. I'm so glad you submitted them for the festival, and we look forward to some more for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for speaking with me. Is there anything you would like for everyone, if they don't know of the books or haven't seen them, where could they find them now?
Yeah, absolutely. They're available on Amazon in paperback, for Kindle, and for Audible. They're at select horse shows and tack shops also, but Amazon is probably the easiest. And actually, they're all available along with some other books the Plaid Horse publishes on the plaidhorse.com/books.
Well, we definitely wanted to send them to that website anyway. So that's a great place for people to look. So great. Well, thank you so much, Rennie. I've enjoyed the books and can't wait for the next one. So happy trails. It looks like you're getting ready to go ride.
Thank you very much.